Hey guys, Nova Bush today and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about episode 10 of Gundam Mercury. So let's get into it. So this episode also continues the trend of us not really knowing who the bad guys are, the good guys, and what's actually going to be happening in the show. As there's a lot of more plot points being added and being thrown around, and more scheming in the background. As we come into the start of the episode, we have Sarius talking to Dwellin, who is the leader of this whole organization, talking to him about why he's allowing Gundams to exist, why he's recognizing Gundams and not doing anything about it. And he definitely doesn't seem happy with the situation. I'm also interested in mostly why Gundams are seen as bad. We haven't really seen too much of why they're seen as bad. They said it kills the pilot, but is that such a big thing? Like, is murder such a bad thing here? I mean, in other Gundams in general, like people dying, things happening, weapons, like it's just a natural thing of war and conflict. There doesn't seem to be any wars at the moment in this particular Gundam, but there's definitely something going on Earth that we know of. But in general, is the idea of people being killed by technology that bad in this universe? It seems like it, and I guess we're going to see more as we go ahead. And then next we see Vim talking to Sarasu. Vim is the dad of Gruel. Gruel, the one that rhymes with Frill. Weird name still, but a fan favorite. It seems like so far. But anyway, yeah, Vim, and he's just openly talking about his idea about killing Dwellin, which is not the brightest thing to do. I'm not really sure why he's so open and nonchalant with his ideals. It doesn't seem like Shirasu was really interested in the idea. He actually was kind of knocking it down until his stepson, until he starts to talk to him about the plans. He then is on board with the plans. He actually wants to escalate it and work with them for some type of plot. Now I don't know where this is gonna go. It seems like his son is always scheming as well. This anime is full of schemers. Like, you don't know who's your friend, who's your enemy. Like, what? Literally, the other episode, he was scheming against our girls, our team. But then he said, fine, he's gonna, if he win, blah blah blah, he's gonna join you. And then even now, he's still scheming for his next plot along the way. So it doesn't seem like, no matter where this story goes, someone's always scheming. Like, it's pretty mad. And then moving on to the next scene, we have Siletta, who is actually in charge of watering Mioin's plants now, or tomatoes and so on. And she seems actually quite happy about this. It seems like as the episodes go by, she's feeling closer to her. They're building some, relation, some communication, some friendship. She's always trying to pull some stuff off of her list. Like, even later on, there's a scene where she actually tells a joke and makes everyone laugh. So that's one of the other things on the list. And it definitely, I can feel they're really trying to build up the characters strongly in this one. So when things happen, you really feel sad about it. I'm really definitely seeing that the latter half of this series is going to be a travesty. Like, some hell is going to break loose, or something's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be super lighthearted. I think it started out a bit. I mean, we haven't started out in war, so it's been a bit more light on the fighting side. It's just been duels, really. But it's definitely going to escalate as it goes on. But yeah, Shad comes to talk to her about looking after the plants, and it's kind of hard to know what this guy has got going in his head. And it seems like Soletta is kind of, seen him as a friend now, as a comrade. But we have to really see going forward what he has planned in the episode. I mean, we do see later on in the episode as he's planning when his father actually, his stepfather actually comes out with this plot, which we'll get into a bit later on. But before we get into that, there was actually a pretty cool scene where they actually showed the technology of what they've been building, the Gundam, or Gundam, sorry, where they're actually building the prosthetic legs and arms and so on. And the legs is one of the first things they've been testing. They've been testing to see how safe it is and how it works overall. And yeah, it actually seems to be passing some of the preliminary tests. So it seems like what they've been hoping to do has been a success, and the whole Earth team seems to be on board with it. And they're actually coming around on Miorin. Before they didn't like the fact that she was from space, and that discrimination between the two different places of being born. But despite that, it seems like the Earth team has really come around, to this new idea. And it's actually interesting because Maureen in the next scenes actually talking to her father about the business, and the father's actually quite I wouldn't say excited, but he's pleased that the company has made a lot of progress in the couple months it's existed. You know, they've done quite a lot of work, and they'll be making a lot of good strides in their business. But he does warn her about some of the investments that might be drying up if she doesn't take consideration of other types of funding and not just relying on shareholders to fund the whole project. Moving back to Shad, like we were talking about before, his father gives him the news of Vim actually trying to, persuade him to help him kill Dwellin, which is an interesting one. And I find it interesting how Shad, he always seems to be, just like I said, just jumping on every scheme he feels like he can get. He's like he's got strings everywhere. Even later on in the episode, where he seems like one of the people on the Earth team, I can't remember her name now. Let me get this up. Yeah, Nika. He seems to have some type of relation with Nika. Like, I don't know how they know each other. I mean, she's a second year student, so she's been there for longer than most of the other people. So I don't know if they've had some history in the previous year or even before that, but something's going strange there, and I really want to figure out what that is. But I'm gonna jump in the gun, but I want to talk about it here since we're talking more about this deception that's going on, and how Shad is always trying to figure out different ways on how to really screw people, it seems like, and work behind the scenes. And then we say your boy Gruel, aka Bob now. I think that was his name. It was pretty interesting how now he's just pretty much just gone away from the school. It seems that he's decided to go away and just to work in outer space on some type of machinery or repairs. It's pretty interesting to see that he's actually changed profession like that. I mean, we haven't really seen much of him apart from those little scenes of him kind of just in his own space, in his own, in the forest around the campus, I assume. But now it seems like he's decided to go elsewhere and work, which should be interesting. It seems like, as we'll see later on in the episode, he's going to be part of the plot still. He's always going to be that side character, still kind of in the plot, but not doing anything directly in the plot right now. But he's going to be there, and he's going to be a big part of it in the future. My theory is later on he's going to be helping, Sileta and Miori. They're going to be on the same team. Maybe he's going to be one of the pilots in their team or something like that's going to go down. But I guess we'll see going forward. And then we get introduced to these two new characters. It seems like they're on Earth because they seem to be cultivating stuff from actual real soil. And I think they do mention talking about Earth a bit later on with their leader. And Shad has actually has a task for them to actually go when it comes to Dwellin and actually deal with him, as we alluded to earlier. So it seems like he has ties everywhere. Ties on Earth, ties. It's unexpected, but yeah, it seems like he knows people in many places. And as I was saying before, many plots in many places. We see Ellen again appear, but this time it seems to be another clone. I'm wondering, I don't think the real one's ever actually shown up in person. I'm thinking maybe that one time in a party he showed up, but apart from that, it seems like every other time has been a clone. And this clone seems to be more like his normal personality from what they were talking about as the sadistic side of him. And he comes on to Sileta really hard, like really pushing. I don't know. It seems like they said they want to get the Gundam from her. But from what? Seduction? Like some friendship? Persuasion? Like, I don't know what they're planning, but it just kind of seemed like it pushed her away more than anything else anyway. So that didn't really work. It's just so many plots, man. So many plot threads. That's the cool thing about Gundam, and this one just definitely seems to have a lot with all these characters, so that's going to be interesting going forward into the rest of the series. And then we come to probably the sadder parts of the episode where Miori finally actually comes back from her trips, and earlier in the episode, I can't remember who actually told her, but someone was telling her that maybe she'll no longer be needed from her when she comes back. To Sileta, kind of seems like that's the case, as pretty much, she was the one that was looking after the garden, and as soon as she comes back, she's hired other people to do it. She's not caring much about her efforts as much. She says thanks, but it doesn't seem like she's too much in the business. She's not really much in the emotional side. She's never really been much of that type of person anyway. And now Sileta feels like you know, the efforts, the trust that she was given has easily just been passed to someone else, as it wasn't a big deal to her, but to Shileta it was a massive deal. You know, she doesn't have any friends. You know, these type of gestures mean a lot to her going forward, which is a bit sad. So yeah, she bought these toys that she was going to give to her, but yeah, it seems like the relationship's going to slowly drift apart. Maybe, I guess we'll see if they repair it next episode. A lot happened this episode. A lot happens in every episode. This is probably going to be my longest of my reviews so far. I need to trim it down a bit. And then we see our boy Bob in space again, and this time it seems like the group that Shad sent is actually taking over his shuttle. Now there might be something I missed here, and I need to find out why they did this. Is this just the start of their mission to get to dwelling in some way or somehow? So like I was saying, no matter what happens, Ghoul is always just in a plot. Like he tries not to be, and he just comes in. So this definitely seems like it's him coming back into the plot. We'll see where this takes him and where he goes from here. But yeah, guys. Overall, I'll say it was a really good episode. No action in this episode. It was light on that stuff, but overall, I would probably give it somewhere in like an 8. I think 8 is a solid mark for this episode. 8.2 maybe. I liked it, and I like what the series has done so far. We're 10 episodes in. Traditionally, Gundam has 50 episodes. It can go more or less. You know, the first Gundam only had like 42 or 43. Then After X had like 47. So you know, it can really differ. But you know, I'm really hoping as we go forward, like they built up characters really well. They've done well with introducing the. I can't even say, I don't think they've done amazing introducing the world. We just thought know so much about the world and the stakes and what's going on and why it is how it is in this particular one. So we don't really know the stakes and all that stuff, but they've built up a lot that now we just need to see it start going along. We need to see the plot start moving along, I think, in these next couple episodes to really see where it's going to go, because I still have no idea where this Gundam's going to start or end. I don't know who the enemies are. Dorelli might be an enemy, but he seems like he's just passive. He's just a guy who just cares about money. Vim, definitely, he's always plotting. He's always scheming, and he's always doing some dumb shit. Then we got Shad. Him and his father, you know, I don't really know. His father seems like he's just a guy of principle, not evil. But Shad definitely seems like he's an opportunist. I don't know if he's going to be one of the bad guys. It's hard to tell, really. Any of the other groups, I don't know. There was another Federation group that got introduced in this episode. Actually, that talked to Myoin. Was that woman that almost transported her back to Earth in, I think, one of the previous episodes, probably like episode 3 or 4. Are they possibly going to be enemy and ally in future? I mean, it seems like they're going to be an ally from what from the conversation they had, but it's still so unclear. And I really want to get. I really want it to be clear. So I'm hoping in his next 3 episodes we can really see where it's going to go. Like I said, so far this episode, I'd say it was an 8.2, 8 to 8.2. I say the series overall has been probably about an 8. I would say so far it has potential to go up to 9s and a 9 point something. My highest tiers of Gundams, but I just need to see more. But yeah, guys, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for next week as we do another review. And I still need to review the earlier episodes as well in one quick fire. So I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.